Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the classic Zentangle original tangle, Knightsbridge. I was going through my list of tangles that we've done on the quickies, and I haven't done Knightsbridge. So I'm like, oh, well, we have to do it. And also, we used it as a tangle on today's class that we had that was on, I called it, it's a string thing. It's a string theory for Zentangle. And so it was one of the ones that we used, and it was really neat. Okay. Oh, you know what? In the spirit of that, I'm going to do my four corners and a border. I like to do mine wiggly because it provides a challenge, a certain challenge, and helps me to, or I should say, provides my own challenge, challenge of my own making. Yes, because I work to not have things look contrived, and I think I've just kind of fell into, oh, I'm just going to make these all curvy. Oops, that's not the one I want. Okay, so Knightsbridge is a simple grid pattern that, well, and then, but you can have a lot of fun with it, and I'll show you the couple examples from today. But I'm just going to do a straight grid. And what I like to do is, in whatever section that you're filling in, it's a brilliant fill-in tangle. It's high contrast, so it adds that bit of drama to your tangle. And it's just so nice when you look. I have a lot of people that will ask, well, how do you know what tangles to fit in with, other tangles? It's like, well, number one, it doesn't matter. But a lot of times when I'm deciding, oh, what do I want to do? Okay, I'm going to look for a high, okay, what do I have so far? Oh, I have like a lot of line ones. Oh, so I'm going to add a high contrast one to that, or something that has more contrast than what's there already. So sometimes that's how I plan anyway. And this is a great tangle for that. And what I like to do is, whatever section I'm filling in, and I do this for all of the grids that I do, start in the middle and then work my way out to either side, with the intent of having them be even, but as you can see, they're not. And then same thing the other way. And the nice thing about all things Zentangle is that it really doesn't matter. And so what's neat about doing it this way is then I end up with these little partials. And I personally think that they're just a lot of fun to deal with. Okay, now I am going to switch to my graphic one pen. So if you have a thicker nib pen, this is a great use for it. And just start somewhere to, and pick your first one that you're going to fill in. And we're alternating. And, and it's up to you how you decide to fill them in. If you want to go, all the way across. So it's like this one skip. Okay, then this one would be filled in. You could also go on the diagonal. I'll do that in a second here. So like starting with this one, I could say, oh, well, I'm going to do, this whole diagonal. Either way, you're going to end up with the same result. And that is every other box, it's either filled in or not. So we're alternating them. Like I said, just like a checkerboard. What's neat, I mean, you think, oh, it's just a simple black and white checkerboard. But, I mean, besides being able to do it in different, types of shapes, in different sizes, it is really versatile. And it's so nice, even if you just have a little teeny space. Oh, which, if I find it, I'll share it with you. Where I just used it in a little section. I will find that. I don't think it's too far out of reach. So anyway, talking to myself. And let me do all of these full ones first. And what I like to do, especially with the thicker pen, is, go over, um, outline it like that. Actually, and I do it on the inside, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to add to the thickness of the line. And the reason I did this not with the thick pen to start off with was you get this nice crisp corner, and you might get it with the thicker pen, but then might not too. So I just like starting it off with the thinner pen and then filling in with the thicker. And then too, sometimes I'll stay a little, I won't worry about getting, like, right here. It's like I'm not going to go back and touch that up, because I can do that with the 01. I'm using an 01. Everybody has their own favorite for their size of pen that they like to use. But I kind of like having, like, these sections as, fine as possible. Actually, while I have it out, well, I might be able to get some of these with the thicker. But it is, I mean, it's a time saver if you really don't care for filling in, but you like the result. It fits that bill too, because it can kind of fill in a little bit quicker. And it's just gotta be careful with it. And what I like about doing the four corners and the border, and I talk about this especially when I do my Zentangle Essentials class, is I look at and really, even the class that we just did, I didn't use the example there, but when we use a string, it's all of Zentangle is supposed to be non-representational. So when we use the string, which divides up the space, what's neat is, and depending on how it's divided up, I see it as like peeling off a layer of wallpaper or something, and you find this pattern underneath. And that's why I like doing a squiggly border, because it kind of gives that idea as well. And I just personally think it's neat. And so when you create your grid in the middle, and then you work your way out to the sides, you're not planning on what's left over, so it's kind of a surprise at the same time. Now this one, for shading, I probably wouldn't do anything other than what I'm going to do. And let's see. Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to fill it. I'm going to go to the inside. And I have been using this tortillon quite a bit, so I've got a lot built up. Obviously, you don't have to go over the parts that are already filled in with the ink. And one recommendation, well, depending on the paper that you're using, so I'm using a Zentangle tile, and you have to be careful, because especially when it's wet, it will pick up some of the paper and the ink, and it just makes a bit of a mess. But you can see, even with what I had left on my tortillon, which, like I said, was quite a bit, it creates a really neat rounding effect. And it really looks like it's sunk down below the surface of this border, as if we peeled something off of it. And it's, like I said, it's just a neat tangle. And I try to mix things up with the daily tangles that I present, and have a nice mix of Zentangle original tangles, oldie but goodies, the classics, along with things that are happening now, because we want to always remember. We want to remember all of them. That's how my brain works. And it's just such a neat tangle. Okay, so as I promised, let me share with you some other ideas for this. So this is, like I said, straight-ish grid, which has a neat look to it. But you can also have it be wiggly. So not worrying about how your lines are, however they end up. It's great. So those that have shaky hands, it will look awesome. It doesn't matter. Um, like I said, this is from the string class where we were exploring the concept of strings in Zentangle, and but yeah, so that I just went with where my curves were, and filled in the lines, for the grid, and just had a lot of fun with it. This one, I decided to because here, well, actually, this was my string line. That was one pencil line, and then I have another one that came like this. So I decided, well, it was like, well, I'm going to do this whole thing. It'll kind of look like a mountain, or it can, well, the way I did it, it looks like a pathway. And then I decided, oh, well, where this line is coming in, I'll alternate again. So I started, over here with the every other, and on purpose went narrower at the top. So this is another fun thing you can do with any grid pattern, starting narrower at the top and then spreading it out as you go further down. And then with these lines going across, same thing, having them be further apart, just a little further apart as you go down. So it really creates that effect. And like I said, just really, really neat. And I just decided I'm going to play with tangles. That's what I'm doing with this, because it was fun. And then this one I have to share because in the picture that I took, I have to add my little bunny. Because this totally is like Alice in Wonderland. Whenever I do that grid pattern, especially if it's in any way, shape, or form wonky, we have to add the little white rabbit. So, all right. So that's one. Oh, and this is the one that I was also wanted to mention. If you just have, let me back this up. If you have just a small area that you want to fill in, and this, it's done on the angle. And it like I said, it has such a neat look. It's neat to have that bit of contrast in with, things that are not less contrast. And in here too, I have light contrast. And so I was like, oh, I need to have something dark. And like this tipple is kind of medium, I guess, if I was to grade it, and so I share that little bit because it shows the the usefulness of Knightsbridge, and because I always like to throw in a little something extra, apparently, some Zentangle philosophy, on uses and things. So anyway, it's such a neat tangle. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, would love to have you click the like button. And while you're at it, if you've not done so yet, would love to have you subscribe to the channel. In the description section, you will find links to the step outs. I always do my own version, and then link to the creator of the tangle. And I'm going to link it to tangle patterns because, well, actually, I might have two links there. One to the Zentangle blog, but that's out. That is also on Linda's Tangle Pattern, so she has that, as well as some, a couple, well, at least one video, maybe two, where they're demonstrating it. So I'll probably just I'll just make it simple, put the one link in there, and then in that link there are other links, just so you know. And so below that, in the description section, ways to connect with me. So if you would like to join me for fun classes where we talk about the Zentangle method and just really, do some deep dives into it, would love to have you. Information is on my website, as well as ways to follow me for class postings. One way is if you happen to be on Facebook, I have a link to my page and a link to our private Facebook group for Tangle Addicts. Love to have you join us. Know that there are like 3 questions to be answered to gain entry, and we have a lot of fun there. But I always post classes on Facebook, and then, share them into the group. So one way or another, you get them. But they're generally Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm doing something every Tuesday and Thursday, unless I have something weird in my calendar. So yeah. Fun, neat Tangle. And with that, thanks so much for watching. And I wish you happy tangling.